Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system? Obviously.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe. It's time to put away your toys.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. A new low price and free games.
Mind-blowing graphics of Panasonic Real 3DO. 3DO.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast where we talk about all things 3DO, the company, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Threk. How you doing, Threk?
Oh, Bill, I'm doing something. I don't know. How are you?
I'm in pain, but that's just life being a 30-year-old, I guess.
I'm in mental pain from all the fucking bullshit that's happening with Nintendo.
Yeah, we may have recorded a long live stream that devolved into nonsense very fast, but
I mean, what do you expect, right?
it was a super
just
pod thing. It was always just that's what happens.
Exactly. So if you haven't listened yet, go listen to the Super Pod Super Show we did about the Switch 2 Direct that took place the night of the Direct. So we did it fairly quickly. And yeah, in that week, quite a lot has happened with the Switch 2 in terms of updates. Good and bad, but mostly bad. We don't have to get too detailed in them. We're not going to break everything down, but like the big one was that the pre-orders got pulled because of the tariffs. And as far as I know, the pre-orders have not come back. I think it's like the UK has the pre-orders back, but I don't think the price has changed at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the fuck's going on. But it seems that like a lot of countries are trying to negotiate with the US about these tariffs and all that. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, Trump, I don't have to get too deep into this, but like he completely lied about the whole thing. Like when he had that big chart showing all the percentages, that's not the tariffs that country is charging us. It's how much stuff we import from them versus them from us. Like Vietnam doesn't have a 90% tariff on us. We just import 90% and they import 10% from us. That's our import-export relationship kind of a thing. And then they put out that that hilarious equation that's total bullshit, especially when like two parts of the denominator cancel each other out, which is hilarious. Like quick math for you. So 4, right? The number 4, what do you get when you times it by 25%?
100.
No.
Wait, no.
Why does everyone fucking say that? What's 25% of 4?
Yeah, I failed math.
It 1/4 is 25%. 1 over 4.
That's right.
1, right? So 4 times 25% is 1. So here, this is easier for you. When you times a number by 1, what do you get?
The same number, isn't it? Yeah.
So it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
So that bottom part is total bullshit. So I'm not going to get too deep into this. That's as far as I'll go. But basically, the whole thing is stupid and the whole thing is fucked. I could go deeper, but we're not going to go there. And so because of that, the Nintendo Switch 2 is affected. So, of course, a lot of the gamer boys who normally wouldn't care or would care when, like, boobies are involved are actually starting to get mad about this stuff, which, hey, whatever actually gets them to give a shit is fine by me. I just think it's funny that some people who didn't care all of a sudden care because their treats are being affected. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because they're not going to be able to get it day one and then complain that they bought it day one and there's nothing to play.
Oh, there'll be stuff to play.
True.
I think there's like almost 20 games at launch or something like that. Like if I'm doing quick math in my head, I think like I think it was something like I saw an article. I think it was like 17 games, third-party games are day one. And then with first-party stuff, we have Mario Kart World, the Welcome Tour thing. Was there another first-party game day one?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but roughly like 19, 20 games at launch. So there'll be a bunch to play. But the real question is anybody going to be able to afford it? Because if they haven't brought the pre-orders back, everyone's assuming they're going to raise the price, and they probably are. The question is by how much, and how's that going to affect the sales? Like, it will affect the sales, not at the start, because Nintendo consoles always sell really well at the start.
Yeah.
But the tail is the problem. Like when the Wii U first came out, it sold really well in its first like month or two. And then
the PS4 and Xbox One came out and everyone went, I don't want to play with this anymore.
It wasn't even that. It was just the sales died off because the Wii U had a real big issue with drought. Like almost comparable to the N64. Because the N64 in its first, I think like in 96, it sold really well. And then in 97, the sales started to peter off a bit, and the first party stuff was just very slowly trickling out. And normally when the third parties would pick up the slack, they weren't because they were on PlayStation. So it was a whole mess. But I don't think the Switch 2 is going to be to that degree. I think it's just going to be a case of people maybe not willing to pay $500+ for just the console, and then seeing the prices of the games with where things are economically. I think some people are going to wait.
Yeah. I mean, I don't plan on getting it day one.
I don't either, you know. I think if it was priced better, or if I was in a better situation personally, maybe I dip day one, but I just don't really see the need. I'll probably get it later in the year. I'll probably get it this year, but I can hold off.
Honestly, the thing that would make me interested in getting one is like the Mario Odyssey sequel, if that was announced. But as of right now, that's still. I'm assuming they're working on it, but we know nothing about it.
Well, we have DK Bonanza, which I think is meant to be sort of the stopgap game.
True.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was being developed for Switch 1, and then at a certain point they moved it over to Switch 2. Because it feels like a game that would fit on Switch 1 as like that stopgap between 3D Mario titles. But honestly, it looks great. And if that's the 3D platformer we have for a couple years before the 3D Mario comes out, I'm fine. Genuinely, I'm fine. They're probably, and it's the Odyssey team that made it. You can, if you hold up screenshots of Odyssey and Bonanza, you can see a lot of similarities in like the assets and the way the games are designed and look are similar.
Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't be surprised if that team is now working on the next proper 3D Mario. But it'll probably be I think it'll be at least another year and a half till we even see it. And that's fine.
Yeah.
They'll need to rush it, especially if Bonanza is going to be so fucking good, and you have Prime 4, and who knows what they else have in the pipeline for it. I think we'll be okay. So, yeah. I mean, who knows when the next 3D Zelda is going to be?
Yeah.
That's going to be that. We'll be lucky to see that this decade.
Yeah. I mean, I still haven't played a ton of Tears of the Kingdom as it is. So.
And I have no desire to. Maybe one of these days I'll put a couple hours into it and bounce off of it, but I don't know. I
played about an hour into it, and I was like, this is good. And then I got distracted, and then I never looked back.
Yeah, like I just recently beat Assassin's Creed Origins, and that was about a 50+ hour experience. It was good. I ended up really liking it, but the grind at the end of the game got on my nerves a bit, and that makes me go, oh, when I get to Odyssey, the divisive Assassin's Creed Odyssey, we'll see how that hits. But it's like take that and then times it exponentially and add Minecraft shit into it, and that's Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I don't like Zelda enough to put up with that shit. Like, I don't want to say this because I feel like I'm dooming myself, but if like they did that with Mario, I would put up with it. I don't know if I would with Zelda.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But outside of that, news stuff. A couple of other lighter news stuff. We'll stick with Nintendo real quickly, and that was it was like a Nintendo dev kit or something leaked online the other day, and it had quite a few interesting things in there. There was an unannounced game from Retro Studios. It was called Harmony, and it was like this game where you play as like a little fairy. And they said the build was around like 2017, but it got canceled because apparently the game sucked.
What is with retro and these weird like builds of games that just end up getting canceled?
They've had more games canceled than it released.
Like Raven, I still remember the trailers for Raven Blade, and I'm like, you think about it, and you're like, that game could have either been great or a fucking flaming pile of shit.
I would have loved to have played their football game.
Oh yeah, they were making retro football. I remember that.
And I would kill to play that fucking game because I'm like, how would that have like been? Like, what kind of football game would that have been? But apparently, according to like ex-retro employees, that game sucked, and that's why it never saw the light of day. But there were two other things that caught my eye. One was Lego Civilization. So basically, take Sid Meier's Civ, and make it Lego blocks. And that idea, I'm like, I kind of fuck with that actually, especially if the idea is it would be more of like a beginner turn-based strategy. Like, say, take Civ Revolution, which is also very beginner friendly, but make it like kid friendly with the Lego stuff. You know, that could have been a big hit, I think.
I wonder if it was because of Lego fatigue. Because I know there was a bit of a period there where people were kind of just over the Lego stuff.
It's possible. I mean, I don't even think they say who was working on it. Because apparently all they see is like a menu screen for it, but like nothing beyond that. So it doesn't say like if Traveler's Tales was working on it. I mean, my guess is Fire Access was working on it. That would be my guess.
Or I wonder if it's
I would not trust Traveler's Tales to make a Civ game.
Yeah.
It's just not in their realm.
Part of me wonders if it was something that like they pitched to like Fire Access and then Fire Access was like, nah.
Or maybe Fire Access pitched it to 2K and 2K was not sure about it, or even maybe Lego turned it down.
Maybe.
You know, but that's something that I would like to see, that like a Lego themed strategy game. I think would actually be really cool. And then the other thing, this one actually kind of breaks my heart because this would be really great to have, and that is apparently Bamco was working on a fucking Ridge Racer for Switch, like a brand new Ridge Racer game. There's footage of it in the article. It looks really good. Like, it looks, I wouldn't say done, but like a nice playable build of it. And I'm like, fuck, man, we were this close to a new Ridge Racer.
When was the last Ridge Racer? Was it Unbounded?
It was one for 360, I think.
I think it was Unbounded because I remember that one. Because that one was weird because it didn't play like a Ridge Racer.
Yeah, wasn't that like more like a sim racer?
Yeah, I think so. Either that or it was
oh,
more.
Yeah. Because you look at this and it looks like a fucking Need for Speed game.
Yeah. Because I remember, I think the last like real Ridge Racer was like 7.
Yeah, 7.
Or that one on the Vita.
I knew people who liked 7, but it's hard to top like Type 4.
Yeah, nothing will ever top Type 4. Type 4 was such a good game.
Yeah. But man, like, you see the footage of it and it looks really good. It reminds me of Cruisin' Blast a little bit. Like, it has like more of like that arcadey feel to it. Or just
maybe
that kind of Ridge Racer-y vibe to it.
San Francisco Rush, maybe a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
That's a series I wish would come back. I miss San Francisco Rush.
Yeah, here I'll send you the link so you can see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm not sure why this got canceled. I don't think it says in there why. At least if it does, I didn't see why. Yeah, so the game was never announced and has presumably been long since canceled. The build was from 2017. And it looked like, it would have been like an early Switch game. Because if you look at the controls at the front, it's for the Switch. So
I love those old, like, I love whenever like a dev like finds, or like a random fan finds a like a dev kit, and then they just they look through it and they find all that weird shit, because it's like where that infamous like Sonic Extreme, not the Sonic Extreme everyone knows, the weird skateboarding game came from.
Yeah. I remember hearing about that. Yeah, that was going to be what, like PS2, Xbox era, I think.
It was on an Xbox dev kit, so it was the only confirmed thing was Xbox. I remember it was like you played as Sonic and you played as Shadow in a skate park, and it looked like shit.
Oh yeah, it probably would have been shit.
That's also where that famous South Park game, like the one that was like a hit and run clone, came from.
Oh, Road Rage?
No, not Road Rage. It was like a South Park. It was a South Park game on an. It was on an original Xbox dev kit. It Nothing's really known about it because it was never announced. There was a few cutscenes from it and some gameplay. It looked like a Simpsons hit and run clone.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
Yeah, Happy Console Gamer actually like knew the guy who found the dev kit and he like showed it off on one of his videos. But
Oh, I found the video. I'm looking at it right now.
yeah,
Holy shit.
It looks interesting, but apparently it was very unfinished. So
I mean, yeah. Like the environments aren't even like made.
yeah,
Yeah, I can tell this is very much trying to be Simpsons Hit and Run. And of course, the question is if it would have been any good. The jury is out on that.
yeah, we'll never know because it was unfinished. So
Yeah, but we got those good South Park RPGs, so I'm okay.
yeah, and Snow Day, whatever you want to call Snow Day.
A bad game, easy.
A waste of time is more what I considered it.
I mean, every game's a waste of time.
Yeah, but at least I got something out of the other South Park games. Snow Day was just like, like I had no idea.
I was like, who asked for this?
Matt and Trey were very interested in trying something different, and it backfired.
Yeah, they want to do like a roguelike kind of a thing, which again I understand, but it's just like, you didn't have to do this.
Yeah,
But I just hope they don't decide to pivot back to an RPG because they feel like they have to, and then make some kind of like half-assed RPG. It's like, no. Only do it if you want to do it.
yeah.
Like, I'd rather Matt and Trey with South Park games just do what they want to do rather than like doing what they think they need to do. So whatever weird idea they have, if it works, great. We'll stick with it. Let's see. I didn't see anything Sony this week, but there are two Microsoft ones. One bad and one good. So I'll start with the bad one, and that is apparently they're experimenting with their whole like AI generation thing and trying to have like, let's see, Microsoft has launched a version of Quake 2 powered entirely by generative AI, which has been received negatively by social media users.
It could be great, and just having the word AI there immediately would make everyone dislike it. So
like, I hate the whole idea they have with like, oh, AI could be used to like make older games playable or this other kind of like, I do not like this idea. I think it's really gross in terms of like, cutting the labor force and like trying to, the idea of like, oh, game development could just be done through machine learning. And it's like, that's not what game development is. And even if you're talking about porting or emulating old games, it definitely takes more work than just a fucking AI just churning it out. Like, you need to do more than that. I mean, you and I have lived through the history of emulators from being like absolute dog shit to now they're like near perfect.
yeah.
So, and that's all been like humans figuring it out. So I don't like this, but I have a bad feeling they're going to try to steamroll through it anyways. I mean, I think AI could be effective in game development in certain aspects.
As like an assisting tool, yeah, not as like the sole.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, the whole thing. Like if you wanted to use AI to help in like generating worlds in like a random generation type of way, or that kind of stuff, sure. I'm sure there's ways to do it, but just that I do not like that at all. I think it's nasty work. Because then they could be like, oh, we could like port Skyrim in this. And I'm like, no. Don't you dare.
It's like whenever you get one of those fan games. It would be
funny to play AI Skyrim. I think that would be entertaining, but for all the wrong reasons.
It's like whenever you get one of those fan games where it has like the AI voices in it, and I just go, ugh.
Yeah. And we're going to hear more AI voicing as we go on with game development, which I'm not looking forward to at all.
Yeah.
But we'll end on a good thing, and that is Bethesda's long-expected Elder Scrolls Oblivion remake could be released at any moment. So, cool. I guess it was Grubb. Good old Jeff Grubb was talking about it, and I guess he's been told it could shadow drop any moment this month, or it could just shadow drop very soon. And this is like that Oblivion remake thing that was leaked in the Microsoft court case they had with who's the court case? Was it the FCC?
I think it was like the European FCC or something. It was,
Okay, yeah, but it was one of them when they went to court about the Activision stuff, and then this kind of leaked out in the court documents. And then everyone was like, "Oh, this sounds like really fucking cool, right?" Because a while ago I messed around with Oblivion, and I'm like, "This is a really good game, but it's also really difficult to play by modern standards." Like,
it's aged.
I enjoyed it for the few hours, but I was like, I just my brain cannot.
It's like going back to
Go
Morrowind and being like, "Ooh, this game has aged."
I tried playing Morrowind and I had the exact same thought. I'm like, oh, brother.
Well, my favorite is
I can't do this. Like, I'm sorry. I'm gonna disagree with Quest on this. These games aged. It's not a we aged. These games fucking aged. Okay.
I look at my favorite is I see people who go like, Oblivion doesn't need to be remade, it still looks great, and I'm like, have you played it in like a few years? Like, it does not look great anymore.
It doesn't look as bad as you'd think, but it definitely, I mean, I remember I played it when it was still kind of contemporary and liked it at the time, but I didn't love it. And then going back to it, I'm just like, there's stuff here that's like really cool, you know, but a remake would be nice. It would help. And the remake is being done by Virtuous, who are also doing that MGS3 remake at the moment. So
they're the new Blue Point, because God knows whatever the fuck Blue Point does anymore.
Some lives. Oh, weren't they? I think they were doing a God of War live service game that got canceled.
Probably, yeah.
I think so, because I think it was like a couple months ago. Like they were canceling like live service games, and I think that was one of them. Was a Blue Point doing a God of War live service, and I'm like, who the fuck thought that was a good idea to have Blue Point do that?
Let's make the porting remake studio make a live.
Yeah, rather than remake Eco, let's have them do that.
Yeah,
what the fuck's wrong with you people? But Virtuous, I guess it's being completely done in UE5, so I could see that, just being shadow dropped out of the blue, or they save it for an Xbox showcase, where they show it there and then say like, play it on Game Pass later today. You know, they could do that with that.
Yeah.
And that'd be dope, because then I would download it and play it, because I like Oblivion.
I'm not really a huge Elder Scrolls guy, but I'd probably check it out.
Yeah, I'd mess around with it for a few hours. I don't know if I'd stick with it, but, you know, it's kind of the same with Skyrim, where it's like, I definitely would mess around with it for a few hours. I don't know if I would have the capacity to stick with it, but who knows? I mean, I've stuck with some bigger games than I thought I would, more of them than I expected. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe my brain is being molded by all these goddamn giant Ubisoft games. But Origins is really good. I mean, to be fair with Origins, if you mainline it, it won't take you that long to beat it. So, but anyways, that was all the news. We didn't go too deep into Switch 2 because we already did, and it would be another hour if we kept going.
Yeah. The only other thing was we got new Nintendo music, because that's just a weekly occurrence these days.
Oh yeah. I pulled up the app on my phone and I didn't even look. Let's see if I notice it. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. We technically got 2.
Oh, did we? I didn't even look. I saw what it was, and then.
So we got. Is it Luigi's Mansion?
Luigi's Mansion was the big one.
Okay, because I saw the 3DS version first.
Oh. Was the soundtrack different on 3DS?
I don't remember.
I don't remember, because I played like the 3DS remake for like an hour and just went, I want to play it on GameCube. Because
looking at because if you hit the 3DS one, it just takes you to the GameCube mansion. It's like, then why have the two? Why have them separated? And then it says showing tracks from Luigi's Mansion for 3DS, and I'm like, I don't know. That's weird. I mean, it's great that it's here. I love Luigi's Mansion, and I do love that soundtrack.
Yeah. Huh. What?
I like that they have looking in here, I like that they have the times when Luigi hums the tunes. That's really nice.
Was Skyward Sword always in here?
Yeah.
Huh. I still can't believe people hated that
I
game.
hum Luigi's Mansion because Luigi does. Every once in a while, I'll just go.
I still can't believe people hated that game when it first came out.
Because people are idiots and don't know what they fucking want.
Yeah,
Because people are stupid. I don't get it. Like people being like, "Oh, Luigi's such like a coward." It's like that's always been his personality. I say he's a coward and he's scared the whole time, but he's trudging through because he has to.
which is why Super Paper Mario is such a weird fucking game because he's like courageous. He is like so
That's
out
Mr.
of character.
That's Mr. L. That's
Well,
not
no,
Luigi.
even when he first shows up at the start of the game, he's like the one that's taking charge. I'm like, this is not the guy who was in the fucking Marmalade Kingdom or wherever the fuck he was in Thousand Year Door.
Yeah. You want to hear my story, bro? And then like the squids next to him, like I fucking hate this guy.
Yeah, his
Can't
partners
stand
are
him.
always all of his
Like
partners.
this guy
are,
sucks.
Oh yeah, he was rescuing Princess Eclair.
That's why I would die if they made like a Paper Luigi game and it like took place either say it's Thousand Year Door and you explore Luigi's side, like what the hell he's doing, or what would be neat if they wanted to change up the gameplay was have it to where, you know, in like Origami King, when he just kind of pops up here and there doing whatever, have a side game where it's Paper Luigi and you're doing all his shit on the side.
Yeah.
Like that would be cute. And then
people have always wanted them to make like the Luigi Thousand Year Door like adventure. Like, was it the Waffle Kingdom? I think
it was the waffle. I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone wants to see his adventures there because it's like.
And with Paper Luigi, they don't even have to make it an RPG. I wouldn't even care.
Yeah.
Like they could make it more of like an action adventure game. I just would like to. Honestly, I think it'd be better to kind of differentiate them. Like keep Paper Mario the RPG, and then have Luigi be like, say, the silly comedy action game, and then you could have that juxtaposition there. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, because like, he's so out of character in Super Paper Mario, but I actually kind of love him in Super Paper Mario because it's like the most interesting Luigi. Like the whole joke about when he's Mr. L, people are like, oh yeah, he's totally brainwashed.
I need to play that game again.
Best story in a Mario game. I still will die on
that's
that
fair. Hill. I mean, that's a low bar, but you know.
True, but like Super Paper Mario has such a good story that it's almost too good for that game. I swear sometimes.
In a way, yeah. But anyways, yeah, Luigi's Mansion. It's a great fucking game. I hate that I was led astray for years being told it was a bad game and not to play it, so I didn't until many years ago when I finally decided to play it. Because I heard other people saying like, no, that game's like really good, dude. Did you ever play it? I was like, no, I just heard it was bad. They're like, oh, go play it. And so played it, beat it, and I was like, yeah, this game's great. What the fuck?
The only
I was lied to.
Yeah,
Stutter and Craig lied to me.
Well, yeah, of course. But
I mean, he lies about a lot of things, but he lied to me about Luigi's Mansion.
The only legitimate criticism Luigi's Mansion I think deserves is that it's too short. But like other than that, it's like a good game.
I think Bowser being the final boss sucks.
Yeah, the Bowser robot.
It doesn't need to be. Yeah, like you don't need to do that. You could just stick it with King Boo and be fine. I still have my whole pitch for like a big Luigi's Mansion game where Waluigi and King Boo are working together to like they kidnap like Princess Daisy and then to say like King and Queen Daisy or whatever the fuck, and then Luigi has to like take all of the ghosts out of like their kingdom to like resecure it and get back to them, and like you could have it be like kind of a big open worldy kind of adventure with Luigi's Mansion going through this big kingdom, sucking all the ghosts out and stopping Waluigi and King Boo or whatever. Like if you want to do it to have Luigi's Mansion kind of separate itself from the Mario series, you know, have it to like Luigi rescuing Daisy from Waluigi and King Boo. Like you don't need Mario, Peach, or any of the Toads. You just have those characters occupy that world, and it would feel separate, and then you can kind of experiment with it a little bit more. Luigi's Mansion 4, though they're working on Luigi's Mansion 4. Do you think we hear about that this year or not?
Probably not.
Okay. Yeah, we will. We are getting it. 1,000%. Like they bought the fucking studio, so they keep making them.
Yeah.
So not this year, next year.
Yeah, I'd say let the Switch 2 come out, let it get settled, and then they'll start announcing new interesting stuff.
And Luigi's Mansion 4 is 1,000% a game I'm going to buy and play on it.
Well, yeah, 3 was fucking amazing. So.
I love Luigi's Mansion 3.
That is the most expressive Mario game we've had in a long time.
It is a top 5 Switch game for me. Top 5.
It's a shame
maybe even top 3. Because it's that, Mario Odyssey, and oh fuck.
I mean, for me, 3 Houses, but
Astral Chain.
Astral Chain's good too.
Astral Chain. The 3 off the top of my head that I'm like, great games that define the Switch. Mario Odyssey, Luigi's Mansion, Astral Chain. Because I love all 3 of those. Now I want to play Astral Chain again. God damn it.
For me, I'd throw in 3 Houses, but that's because I just loved 3 Houses a lot.
3 Houses is like top 5 or top 10 for me. It's a great game.
But yeah. So other than that, we probably should get into our game topic.
Well, speaking of great strategy games.
Sponsored by the NBA.
You didn't try to peel off that sticker?
So I've tried to peel off those like sports stickers in the past, and they always leave this nasty residue. And I mostly left it on because I think it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, you can Google on that residue right off.
True. It's just one of those things where, like, when I got this in the mail when I ordered it like years ago, when I saw the NBA sticker, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Do you think the buyer noticed or didn't?
So my guess is he case swapped it because the previous case was probably wrecked or something.
Yeah, PS2 case probably.
And I'm convinced like sports games do this on purpose. They put those stickers there just so that you don't buy their games cheap, just to case swap them.
Bingo. You got it.
But I've always, ever since I got this, every time I see that, I'm always like, that's just funny. I'm just going to leave it there.
Fair enough.
Whenever I post this game online, like on my Instagram, like I always get that one comment. They're like, why is there an NBA sticker? I'm like, because it's funny.
Because there was some dude in the NBA who fucking loves this game.
Yeah.
There's one who's like, oh, I'll play that game. That game was the shit, man. Guarantee you there's one.
So Army Men RTS is a fascinating game in a lot of ways. Like
it's a shame that we're only like 2 games into our Army Men series and we're arguably at the peak already.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue Air Attack, but I love Air Attack, but we'll save that for when we get to it.
I haven't played Air Attack, so
okay. This game is kind of an interesting milestone in a lot of ways. It was the final 3DO, Army Men game released by 3DO in their lifetime. It is one of the first games to be developed by Pandemic Studios, which
it was their 3rd game. So Pandemic Studios are, for those who don't know, is an amazing dev from back in the 2000s that were famously bought and killed by EA.
One of the many victims of EA.
One of the many casualties, yes. Before Army Men RTS, they had made a game called Battlezone 2 Combat Commander, which is like a tank first-person shooter strategy kind of game. Never played it. They made a game called Dark Reign 2, which is a straight-up RTS game. Again, never played it. And then Triple Play 2002. They made a random-ass baseball game for EA back in the PS2 Xbox days. Hi, Tommy. The reviews for it are not great, but a part of me, seeing that this is done by Pandemic, I kind of want to play it because I want to see how Pandemic made a baseball game. So...
And for those who don't know, because the studio has been dead for a while, Pandemic famously made Destroy All Humans. They made Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2.
The original Battlefront 1 and 2.
Yes, not the EA ones.
Yes, they did those. They did Full Spectrum Warrior. And one of my favorite games of all time, Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. That's the game where I learned of Pandemic. It was weird because I had Mercenaries in both Battlefronts, and I noticed the Pandemic Studios logo on both of them. And that made me go, oh, they make some like really good shit. In fact, I think I remember I bought Battlefront 1, love that game so much. And then I think on the back of that one, they advertised Mercenaries on the back of the manual. And I was like, well, this game looks cool. And I like looked up reviews of it or whatever. And it was like really highly praised, and went and grabbed it. Because Mercenaries in a way is a blueprint for a lot of modern open world games, because it just kind of drops you in this open world, and you just like, you have like a story, but how you partake in the story and what you do is entirely up to you. Like it's a direct precursor to like the Just Cause series. But also, you know, there was comparisons to GTA at the time, but I think it's different enough from GTA to be its own thing. And it's just a fantastic game, like one of my favorites from that era. And it even got a sequel on the 360, Mercenaries 2 Rolled in Flames, which I played quite a bit of that as well. I really want to sit down and play that again. I don't think I've played it since it came out. And then they made, yeah, as you said, Destroy All Humans, which I've played a little bit of. I think it's the first one. They got remakes, didn't they?
They did by Black Forest Games. They're Matt's a big fan of those, and he said that they're really good remakes.
Okay, because I was literally about to ask you, are the remakes worth playing, or should I try to hunt down the original?
They're about, so it was THQ Nordic. They're about on par with like, say, like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. It's basically a note for note remake. Just looks nicer.
Well, then I'll hunt down the first one, because I would really like to actually sit down and play these games properly.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, Black Forest. They're doing that game based on TMNT: The Last Ronin, which that'll be interesting to see. And then Pandemic, they also made Lord of the Rings Conquest, which was their attempt at taking Battlefront but making it Lord of the Rings. And it's a fun little game. It's not as fun to replay as Battlefront, because I think they were trying to make it its own thing, but in making it its own thing, it doesn't work as well. But it's like a good idea, but it's not a bad game. I just think it could have been some a little bit more, I think. And then the last game they made is a game called The Saboteur, which shout out to my IRL buddy Adam. He fucking loves The Saboteur, and that's like literally one of his top 5 games of all time. And he got me to play it a couple years ago, and I really didn't like it. It's one of those things that I think it's just because like he played it when it was new. I played it a couple years ago, so there's that discrepancy. But like Saboteur is a really good idea. There's a lot there that works. That's like really cool. But it's a game I would like to see like a modern take on it. So I think it would still work better, because it has like kind of like an Assassin's Creed-y kind of vibe to it, but it's also like it has like Mercenaries influence in there as well, because it's like a spy story in like World War II, and it's an interesting game. It's a very interesting game, and I think I was probably a little too harsh on it.
So one other interesting fact about Army Men RTS, it is one of the only Army Men games that saw a release in Japan, despite what Wikipedia says. Wikipedia, for some reason, doesn't acknowledge this. There is a Japanese version of this game published by Capcom, of all studios.
Really?
The cover art is fucking fabulous. Like, it is the most...
Hold on, I gotta see this now.
Look up Army Men RTS Japan. Like, the cover art is amazing.
Hold on. Dude, that looks sick as fuck.
Like, for some reason, Wikipedia doesn't mention that it came out in Japan, but it did. It exists. You can buy it on eBay.
It must have been like a really limited release or something like that.
I was reading on the Army Men wiki. Apparently, the game has a bit of a following in Japan. So,
I mean, I think Japan likes strategy games.
Yeah, so... it's weird that like the Army Men series never made it over there, but then this one just for some reason did.
Of all the games, right? But I mean, hey, Japan got one of the better games in the series. I know I just went on and on about Pandemic because I really like Pandemic and I miss them greatly. Because also they were going to do a third Mercenaries game, Merc Sync, but we won't go there. Anyways, yeah, Army Men RTS. I've had like kind of on and off things with this game. Like I've played this game off and on for like, goddamn, almost 20 years. Because back in my GameCube collecting days, I grabbed a copy of this for the GameCube. and messed around with it and liked it. I've never been like the biggest strategy guy in the world. Like I've played some Civilization, I've played some Age of Empires. I played Star Wars Empire at War, which is a really good game. But my experience with like real-time strategy is, or just strategy in general, is very, very small, because I like the idea of them, but the whole like managing the resources at your base and then conquering other bases, and it's all real time, it gets me very stressed. And I develop anxiety playing these games, and I don't like it. That's why I tend not to play them.
Yeah, like I've never been a big real-time strategy guy. I've always preferred like turn-based strategy or like tactics kind of games.
Yeah, because at least with like a Civilization, yeah, as you said, it's turn-based, and also there are many different ways to play Civilization, so you can sort of kind of get whatever you want out of it, which I think is what makes it so popular and beloved. But one of the things that I've always liked about this game, and why I've gone back to it a handful of times over the years, is that it's a very beginner-friendly RTS game.
It is. It was apparently designed. It was designed specifically for the PS2 and GameCube. Probably the GameCube port was actually interesting. It was released like 2 years later.
Yeah, and that's the version I played, and it works very well. It wasn't done by Pandemic though.
No, it was ported by a separate company,
Coyote Developments.
Never heard of them. They don't have a Wikipedia page either.
Let's see what they have on their Moby Games. Oh, they got a really cute logo on Moby Games. Let's see. They did Zoo Cube, Die Hard Vendetta.
Oh.
iNinja. My guess is they're doing like ports for this shit. So I'm like, they did not make iNinja.
They're probably a porting
Argonaut.
house.
Yeah, I think the reports. Yeah, because Argonaut made iNinja. Still waiting for that remaster. Argonaut, damn it. Answer my fucking emails anyway.
Hey, they're back. They are back. Like you could actually email them.
That's what I said. I've been emailing them. Say, do iNinja, you fucks.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything. I mean, I keep getting restraining orders in the mail, but I don't know what that's about.
They're just like, who is Thrak?
It's always funny when I get mail here and it says Thrak on it.
Yeah.
My parents are like, what the fuck? Why does it say that? And then it's no big deal. No, they just say, oh, that's his online name. Like, yeah. Though more and more of you guys are learning my real name.
Yeah.
I won't say it on here though. Anyways. But yeah, Coyote looks like, yeah, they just do a bunch of, as you said, a bunch of port work. But they stopped in like 2009, I think. So they don't exist anymore. Oh, they made that a European exclusive Home Alone game on PS2.
Woo.
You remember that game?
No.
I've played that game. It's a game, all right. Or at least I think it is. I don't know. I think I was on drugs.
Another interesting thing about the GameCube version 2 is because it was released after the 3DO was out of business, Global Star actually published that one. So it's an interesting variant where you get the 3DO branding, but they just slap the Global Star logo on it.
Because they're like, oh, we want credit for this. It's like, oh, okay, pal.
Yeah. Plot-wise, interestingly enough, this game takes place right after not Sarge's Hero, right after Portal Runner. So it is part of the Sarge's Heroes universe.
Which I've still have yet to play Portal Runner.
I'm looking forward to covering that game because it is something, but we'll save that for another time.
That's what I hear. But yeah, this game, it's weird. They say its plot is inspired by Apocalypse Now. I didn't really get that, but I
saw it.
I only played like the first 6 or 7 stages of it, so I didn't get super deep. But I think I played enough to like, get a feel for the game nowadays.
Did you get to that part in the game where like the narrator just randomly goes, and whatever you do not press the J button?
That's in the tutorial.
Okay. Oh yeah.
What you've just done can never be taken back.
Yeah.
And I honestly, again, I have no idea if it actually plays into the game or not. No idea. I never bothered to push J during the missions because I honestly forgot about it.
I think it was just a joke honestly.
Okay.
I just remember because I played this on PS2, but then I also messed around with the PC version, which is conveniently on Steam for like $5, so that's not a bad deal at all.
Oh yeah, that's how I played this, was on Steam. And it's a strategy game, so playing it on PC, it feels better.
I also love too how the case like specifically is like custom built, perfect for the PS2, and I'm just like it uses like the same style as any console RTS.
Is that really what it says?
Yeah, what does it say here? Easy to learn custom interface with intuitive controls and comprehensive tutorial.
Well, I will give the game credit for that. Like, it's very easy to figure out.
It's
and you can tell even playing it on PC, it was made for console. Like, absolutely. Because strategy games were mostly known as like a PC thing, and being like a PC game, they can be more complex with like different actions and all the stuff you can do with them. But yeah, this game is very much made for a controller. In fact, it reminds me a little bit of another. I don't know if this ever got a PC port, but it's the game Goblin Commander, which is another RTS game from this era that was on consoles. And playing that game, that is also meant for the console user. Though that game, I think, it's a little bit more. There's a little bit more intuitiveness and more challenge with it, because it feels like it's trying to take a PC one and cram it into a console so that it's easier to figure out. Whereas this game is absolutely made for the consoles, like going up. So like playing it on PC is like almost a disadvantage in a way with how it controls on there. But I mean, it plays perfectly fine. When I did have some issue with the controls.
When I think like console RTS style games, this is kind of like the middle ground between like say like Pikmin, which is like baby's first RTS, and then like Halo Wars, which is like a good console RTS, but it's definitely more of a advanced RTS.
Or if you ever played the Lord of the Rings Battle from Middle Earth games. So I think the first one was on PC, but then they put the second one on console, and the second one on 360. I played that a lot, and I fucking loved that game. I've been meaning to hunt that one down again. Like there's a way to do strategy games on console that works. And funnily enough, I think when they're made for consoles, I tend to appreciate them more because it's almost like less stuff to mess with, that they kind of focus more on like the action and the conquesting sort of aspect of it compared to the resource management. Because this game, at least with the campaign that I played, it would say like one mission would be just, get to the end of the map, and you would just kind of like strategy, like, just point and click your way through it and take out enemies, explore it a little bit. And then the next mission would be like, oh, you have your base. So like work on setting up your base and then try to, conquer the other base, kind of a thing. It was all very simple. It wasn't too detailed or complex. It had a little bit, like it's like, oh, only bulldozers can build these things, build the buildings, and the buildings can be upgraded, and you need like plastic and electricity and all the other kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like I like the units are all very like simple and basic. Like I kind of like the little in joke that like Sarge is his own unit, but all he really is he's just a slightly more powerful ground soldier.
Yeah, he just shoots a pistol, but that pistol is decently powerful for what it is compared to a grunt's rifle. And yeah, you get like all the commandos at various points in ways that probably don't make a lot of sense with the story, but details. But then what's weird, maybe I never figured out, if they die, there's no way to revive them.
Yeah, it's kind of get more, I guess.
But there are like certain missions where you can't, because only a bulldozer can build stuff. And if you're like at a mission, say that's like you get into the basement and you have to go to the other side, if you lose anybody on the way, you just kind of have to fucking deal with it. And I didn't think there was, and I don't think there's a way to like heal the buildings, like if the buildings get damaged, unless like a med vehicle can do it. So I know the med vehicle can keep people healed, but I don't know if it can like keep buildings healed, because I would have like guard towers that would be near death, and I was like, there's no way for me to repair these, so I guess I'll just melt them, which is how you destroy things to get plastic back, and then just build a new one.
That was kind of what I did, because I didn't know either.
Yeah, like that feels a little something that could have been ironed out as well.
Yeah. I do love the fact though that it does keep the charm of Army Men. One of the reasons why people do like these games is like the little jokes, like how like you could build a base out of a soda can. Like anyone into Fizzo? Like just goofy stuff like that.
Or I like when they were when they were like, Sarge, the enemy have found a renewable energy source, and it's just like one of those like garden lamps that's like solar powered.
Yeah,
like that was a cute little touch. Or
there's
like, or they're like, meet me. The extraction point's going to be the baseball.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was removed from the PC version, but there is like a point in the game where they're in the house and they find a PS2, and they're like, "Would you look at that? It's amazing!" And it just cuts over to a PS2, like a fat PS2.
That's cool. I didn't get that far. I got stuck in the basement. It was the mission where you have to take out the 3 AA guns, and I was trying to like manage keeping the base alive and then trying to go out and take them, and I just lost everybody, and I got mad and turned it off.
Yeah,
because it's really, because I know they'll have like, they do the squad thing where you can separate in the squads, but like I just found it really difficult constantly going, because you can hotkey back to the HQ, but then you can't hotkey back. So it's like you can hop there and take care of it, but then like to hop back, is a little annoying. And, it's just, maybe it was just how the PC controls are set up, but it wasn't super easy to keep various parts of the map like kind of figured out. So that's like the first time I struggled really. Because other than that, you can kind of brute force your way through most of it and kind of be just fine. Even the tutorials say like, they're like, you can be strategic or you can do what most people do and just brute force it.
It reminded me of the Fort Condor missions in Final Fantasy VII, where like you can strategically do these, or you can just force your way through, which is how I did it on one of the few times I actually tried to do all of those.
Yeah, yes. I think it's just how most people are. They're just gonna brute force it because fuck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, it retains a lot of the charm. Like I love that it takes place in like our world and not their weird Army Men world. So you can have like those, like going through like the garden and like say you get into the basement and have to start fighting ants and spiders and shit.
Yeah.
I like that's all really cool.
The opening plot synopsis is like the main villain of this game is Colonel Blintz, and his entire plot is that he was injured in a fight, and they were like, well, like what happened to him? They're like, he lost his mind, and it shows he got shot in the head, so his brain's just gone. He literally lost his mind.
It's clear to me that Pandemic really understood the assignment for this game. And my guess is Army Men being Army Men, 3DO being 3DO, they're like, oh, we need to keep making Army Men games, but we want to do something that's a little different, maybe something that harkens back to the original Army Men games, because this is comparable to them, but they're not the same. And since Pandemic at that point were like a new studio that were making kind of strategy games, it kind of fit right in. But this is like, it's crazy. It's like, this is the last one they did. Because right after this, they went right into, he was like, like Destroy All Humans. And I mean, there's like Full Spectrum Warrior, which is like kind of in the middle, like it's like a real-time tactics-y kind of game. I haven't played this game in years, but if I remember it correctly, it's a game where you have command of like a squad of 4 guys, but you don't actively control any of them. You're on the ground. Like it's like Ghost Recon when you're like ordering your troops where to go or whatever, but it's like that, but you're not participating in it. You're saying like, okay, you 2 go here, you 2 go there, like this guy go up there, shoot that guy kind of thing. I remember liking it at the time, but I haven't played it in a very long time, so I don't know if it's another game that hasn't aged super well. I have no idea. They made 2 of them. I believe one of them is backwards compatible, but yeah, they kind of like segued from that into doing more like Battlefront and all that stuff. Oh yeah, they made that Clone Wars vehicle game.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I still haven't played that game.
It's on par with most early Star Wars games.
Okay, cool. But I can see why Pandemic was tasked for this game, because it kind of like was like a perfect fit at the time. And it's weird to like see this in their portfolio. Honestly, I would think Pandemic being the people who made this is probably what gives this game more of a notoriety compared to a lot of other games in the series.
In hindsight, well, it's that and the fact that this game's actually pretty good.
Oh, yeah. As we said, as I said at the top, this is one of like the best games in the series. And if you go online and ask people like, oh, what are the best Army Men games? Like just about everyone will say RTS is definitely one to play.
It's usually RTS, Air Attack, maybe 3D, and then like The first two.
There are Sarge's Heroes Defenders as well.
Oh, there are. I mean, unironically, I think those games are overhated.
Yeah. And there are people who really like the first two, like real-time tactics games on PC as well. So like good section, like certain sections of the series have their fans. But I think universally people are like, yeah, RTS, especially by this point in the series, is like a real shining beacon, because after this it's kind of all downhill.
Well, yeah, because 3DO was literally on life. So honestly, the reason why they probably got Pandemic to make this is because Pandemic was such a young studio at the time, they were probably cheap.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I don't think they were bought by EA yet, and it was literally like right after RTS is when they started to hit it big, because Clone Wars and Full Spectrum Warrior, and by the time Battlefront came out in 2004, like that's when they blew up.
Yeah, it was Battlefront and Destroy All Humans really put them on the map.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also Mercenaries, but because there are some diehard Mercenaries fans. I am one of them.
Oh yeah,
fucking love that game. But yeah, after RTS, it's like we've already talked about Sarge's War, and like that game's perfectly fine. But like if you compare it to RTS, it's just quality wise, it is not the same.
I'm convinced Sarge's War is what 3DO was working on at the time Pandemic was making RTS.
I would agree with that.
Or at least they started working on it, and they didn't get very far.
Yeah, because you can tell Sarge's War is meant to be like Sarge's Heroes 3.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the conclusion to the series, even though a lot of Army Men diehards like to say RTS is the conclusion to the series.
Which is because it's like the last good one, like universally considered good one.
It also fits in with the canon better than Sarge's War does, because Sarge's War has a lot of plot holes for those diehard Army Men fans.
I'll take your word. I'll take your word for it. I don't give that much of a shit about the plots.
No, I mean they're the appeal of an Army Men plot is the fact that it's so comically serious to the point where it's actually kind of funny.
That's fair. And sometimes they do play into it, like they'll like the tongue firmly in cheek kind of a thing.
Yeah, like they're trying to be like a serious war story, but it's like just ridiculous shit is happening. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
Typical. They try to be serious, but they also play into the fact that these are plastic toys.
Yeah, which I think is the way to go about it.
I will say though, I do love this cover art. It's very.
I do love that cover art. Genuinely, it's got a sick cover art.
It's got a distinct look to it that really stuck out on shelves. Because even when I was a kid and I knew what Army Men was, but I wasn't like a diehard 3DO nut. I'd see this on the shelf and I'd always be interested in it just because it looks striking compared to the rest of the Army Men covers, especially by that point.
Yeah, it does kind of stick out from the pack, and that's part of the reason why I grabbed it at the time. I was familiar with the Army Men series, but I saw like RTS and the strategy thing, and I was intrigued by it, which is why I grabbed it at the time. And yeah, it's a game that shockingly holds up. Like it's not a perfect game by any means, but I think for what it's trying to do, I think it does it really, really well.
Yeah, like I'd honestly say if you're a person who's not super into RTSs and you're curious about the genre, this is a great place to start because it's so easy to get into. It's not that deep, and it's good. In all honesty,
yeah, it's a really good game. I enjoyed playing it again. And it's probably going to be one of the few times we enjoy playing an Army Men game. So I reveled in it as much as I could. And the best part is, if you all want to play this game, it is $6 on Steam, and a lot of times it goes on sale for even less than that.
Yep.
So this is one I would genuinely recommend picking up and playing with, because it is a pretty solid game. It's also in that Army Men bundle, because there's only, as far as I know, the only Army Men games that are on Steam are Army Men, Army Men 2, Army Men Toys in Space, and Army Men RTS.
Yes.
So the first three like real-time tactic-y type of games, and then RTS are the only ones on PC. And these games are kind of made for PC. So there you go.
So before we get into must play, okay, stay away, I did want to go over reception for this game in particular, because it's very fascinating to me. It is very in the middle, which for an Army Men game, this is probably the best rated Army Men game in years. Well, you can't even
arguably of all of them.
Yeah, because I think the only ones that were really rated higher were maybe like Air Attack, and like the first couple. But
I'm gonna see if I can find it. I'll let you know. You keep going.
But so the game on Metacritic has the PS2 version has a 68, the PC version 67, and then GameCube is 65. Very, I mean, for the game and for the time, because let's face it, the Army Men brand was pretty tainted by this point. Like,
yeah, they killed it. Really,
they released 12 games in like 2 years. So
yeah, a strategy only Guitar Hero can match.
And even that still died a miserable, sad death.
Oh yeah, but I think people are more reminiscent of Guitar Hero than Army Men.
Yeah. Like All Game gave it 3 out of 5 stars, EGM 6.5, Game Informer 6, Game Pro 3.5 stars, Game Revolution B-. GameSpot was pretty nice to it. They gave it a 7.8. GameSpy, I remember GameSpy when they did reviews, gave it a
GameSpy. They had the servers, right? Like online servers. Yeah, I remember those.
They gave it a 72. Game Zone, I don't even remember this site, was very nice. They gave it an 8.5. IGN is the funny one because IGN clearly was like, RTS games shouldn't be on console because they gave the PC version a 7.7 and gave the PS2 version a 5.
Like, okay, make any sense.
Okay, IGN.
That literally doesn't make any sense.
I mean, IGN rarely made sense back in the day. So
let's see, can I find their article? Let's see. Oh, I can. Here it is. You know, finding a good real-time strategy game for the console is possible. I've played at least 2 of them several years ago in my 16-bit heyday. One of them, Herzog Zwei, great fucking game, is still considered today as one of the greatest Genesis titles ever to grace our shores. The other, Utopia Creation of a Nation, was the perfect blend of SimCity meets space combat this side of asteroids. Unfortunately, the quality for such games has faded into oblivion unless perhaps you've had yourself a nice keyboard and mouse combination for PC. And they talk about like StarCraft and Warcraft and Command and Conquer, all that good stuff. It's a decently long review, so I won't go the whole mile.
I just find it weird. This game was very much designed on console, and yet they claim it's better on PC. And I was like, like, sure, IGN, whatever you say. One thing that I do find very funny, though, is all 3 of the so the game obviously came out PlayStation, GameCube, PC. All 3 like respective magazines gave it a review. Nintendo Power gave it a 3.8.
Out of 5 or 10?
Out of 5.
Okay.
PlayStation official US PlayStation magazine gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and then PC Gamer gave it a 57%.
That I could believe, because on PC you had so many other options.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and again, this game wasn't really made for like PC strategy diehards, you know.
This was supposed to be
people
like
on console who wanted to, you know, mess around with the idea of a strategy game.
Yeah, this was supposed to be like your first RTS.
Yeah, and I think it does a really good job at that, for sure.
Yeah, it's playable. It's easy to understand. Like, it's perfect for a beginner.
And for Metacritic, RTS 68. Air Attack 1 is a 77, and Air Attack 2 is a 75. And they're the only games that are above RTS.
The Air Attack
it's the only 2 ones in green.
There's a reason why
the user scores are pretty high as well.
There's a reason why I keep saying Air Attack is my favorite, because
I've never played Air Attack, so when we do Air Attack, maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised because I have no idea.
I mean, it's been a while since I've played them, but I mean, last time I did, which was probably like 2 years ago, I still had fun. So
yeah, they'll be interesting to play because, as I said, I've never played them.
I'm actually surprised.
So I have no idea what to expect.
I'm actually surprised Air Attack 2 has this higher rating because a lot of the sequels did not get as well received as like the originals. But hey,
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I have to replay Air Attack 2 at some point.
Yeah.
That being said, must play. Okay, Stay Away. I'm gonna say this is a must play.
Oh, this is an absolute must play. Like, especially in the Army Men series, this is one of the very few must plays that it has.
Yeah.
And yeah, currently I would sit this like at the top of the list. I mean, we've only played 2 games for of the series for the show, so this is obviously number 1.
Yeah, I mean, the only other one we played is arguably one of the worst, depending on who you ask. I don't think it's that bad, but
Sarge's War was fine, but this tops it easy.
Yeah,
easy tops it. Now you have to think about it.
Not by far. It's just a overall pleasant game that has held up remarkably well, and it was one of the earliest games from a very well-known, popular developer.
A developer that, as you can tell, I still have quite a fondness for my talking about them a lot.
They're one of the developers where, because I think it sometimes I think it's a bit over-exaggerated, EA killing studios. Pandemic is one of the few that like people still are visibly angry about.
Because they had only been around for like a short time. And in that short time, they had made some really good games and were like establishing themselves as like a formidable as a formidable dev. But yeah, they just kind of like they weren't as prolific as say like Visceral Games or like Danger Close or something like that. But I think they could have nested themselves in EA and done just fine, especially with how EA is today.
Oh yeah.
Like imagine Pandemic and like Respawn being like the 2 big first party, like single player studios for them. Like I think Pandemic would have been able to keep going on and do some really good shit. But
like, even like when you think about EA, like even like Maxis wasn't safe.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Even though Maxis is still around, that's not the original Maxis. That's the second studio that EA made just to make Sims games.
Yeah, but it's crazy to think like Visceral Games that did like all the Dead Spaces and Dante's Inferno and Army of Two and
NASCAR Rumble
and like those amazing Lord of the Rings games on like GameCube PS2 and like Visceral was like one of their best studios by fucking far, and they just died because of Battlefield Hardline.
They did make that. They did, because
that's the last game they made.
Yeah, because I always forget, like, because they made Dead Space 3, which wasn't bad, but not as good as 1 or 2.
No.
Yeah, I forgot about Hardline.
Yeah, and they made like some of the Army of Two games, and those games are. Remember Army of Two? But then also like Danger Close, which did like all the Medal of Honor games, and they did the Battle for Middle-earth 2 game that I talked about that I love so much. And then because EA told them to reboot Medal of Honor like Call of Duty, and that didn't work, is why they're dead too. It's like that's
yep.
Yeah, and they only made 3 games as Danger Close, and they have a really fucking cool logo. It's like a restaurant dude that has like an umbrella before like a bomb drops on it, like very Wile E. Coyote. I'm like, that's a cool logo.
It's kind of like how Visceral was originally EA Redwood Shores for the longest time.
Yep. But I love the name Visceral Games. It's a great name. But yeah, just EA just killed everybody, and now what studios do they even have? They have BioWare, Criterion, DICE, EA Gothenburg, the Mobile, Montreal, Northwest. They own GameFly.
Is Black Box still a thing, or did Black Box?
No, Black Box has been dead. Yeah. Okay. Apparently, Maxis does still exist.
So it's not the original Maxis studio. They had made a second studio like called the Sims Studio, which was specifically to make Sims games.
Yeah, it's not Maxis with 2 X's.
And they've since rebranded it as just Maxis as the original one and got rid of they got rid of the Emeryville studio, and it's just the Redwood Shores studio now.
Yeah, whatever, I guess.
Oh yeah, also they had Origin and Bullfrog. They killed both of those.
Yep, killed those. Let's see. Yeah, they have a Motive Studio, which they did the Dead Space remake, which was really good. Oh yeah, they did Star Wars Squadrons, which I've heard is really good. I remember, I think it was like a year or 2 ago. It came out that they were gonna do the Dead Space 2 remake, but that got canceled because the Dead Space 1 remake didn't sell really well. And then EA was like, "Oh, we weren't actually even considering a Dead Space 2 remake." And it's like, that's not a good thing to say. It's like the fans want Dead Space 2 because they like 2 more than 1. But I don't think we're gonna get a Dead Space 2 remake, which is a shame. Because Dead Space 1 remake is really fucking good.
It was
really fucking good. But yeah, Black Box, they died in 2015, and they assisted Visceral on Battlefield Hardline. Did that bomb that bad?
It wasn't good.
No,
that's all I really remember.
What the fuck? But they did. Oh yeah, the last Need for Speed they did was The Run.
Yeah, and the series hasn't really been the same since.
That was the last one. People didn't like The Run though, did they?
No. See, when I think Black Box, I always think like Underground or Most Wanted or like the classic games.
Shift or Carbon. Shift.
Yeah. And then they said, "Hey, Burnout Studio, you make Need for Speed."
Was the first one they did the Hot Pursuit remake or like?
Well, so
it's not even really a remake of Hot Pursuit. It's just like
it's just a new game with
the Hot Pursuit name.
Because they've been
I hear that one's really good.
Yeah, the Criterion ones aren't bad. It's just I'd rather them make a new Burnout. But
I think all of us would. And it's a shame that like EA's like, oh, we're gonna give Criterion a break for making Need for Speed. Everyone's like, oh, great. What are they gonna do? They're gonna work on Battlefield. Like,
I mean, they did make a first-person shooter once, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, 2042. Everyone loved that one.
They did make Black though, and Black is a good, cool game.
Yeah, Black's great, but that was fucking 2006, man. Those people are not there anymore.
True.
I can tell you that. I'm trying to see. The PopCap. I forgot they owned. Remember PopCap games?
Yeah, a little bit.
Play Nation and Respawn. Respawn's kind of like the one holding them up right now.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, because like EA Sports isn't really doing it. I mean, Codemasters still exists, but
Codemasters they bought because they made good games, and then they kind of like started the
now they make bad games.
Yeah, it's like weird how that happened.
Yeah. Oh, they do the F1 games. That's right.
Yeah, and it's funny
because are they any good?
They were until EA bought them.
Son of a bitch.
The decline started the second EA.
Son of a bitch, dude.
It's funny how that lines up.
That is that kind of hurts my soul a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, but as I said before, yeah, Respawn's been really the big one for them. They haven't ruined them yet. I say yet. But they're busy right now. They're doing that like Star Wars strategy. They're doing like Star Wars XCOM, the third game in the Jedi series, and then just it says untitled game by Steve Fukuda. So, which is the guy who wrote Titanfall. So whatever that means, it's probably not Titanfall 3 because we don't deserve that. I guess I don't fucking know. I would love Titanfall 3, but it's never gonna happen.
Titanfall 2 was so good, but apparently it didn't sell that well.
I love Titanfall 2 so much. But that's a rare game I would go back and play on a harder difficulty.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, let's fucking do it. One of these days I'll do it. But I'll just play Need for Speed Hot Pursuit and be mad.
Yeah. But
anyways, yeah, Army Men RTS. It's a really good game, and I recommend if you have even the slightest interest in RTSs, this is definitely a game worth your time. And even if you're not a big RTS person, I think this is a game that can kind of ease you into it and be able to appreciate it from a more simple a more simple kind of design.
Yeah. But anyways, next week, as far as I know, I believe we will be having Matt Storm join us for Primal Rage. So
I hope so.
I believe they put it on their schedule, so it should be good to go. I'm looking forward to covering that one. It's a game, but
I haven't played it yet.
I've been
waiting for the right time to play it.
Yeah, I've messed around with a few versions of it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to play this one.
But look forward to that next week, guys. And anyways, once again, thank you for joining us on the 3DO experience. Note, as of today's episode, Thrak actually had joined us over on sister show Geek Addicts to talk Star Trek that came out earlier today. So be sure to check that one out.
We'll probably be doing more Star Trek as well.
Yeah,
at least I hope so. I'd like to talk more Trek, more like detailed stuff.
That's the plan. Hopefully, in the future, it's just scheduling is going to be the main thing with that.
And then Matt will make me play Fable 2.
Yeah, I mean, I actually do want to play Fable 2 at some point.
I want to play Fable 2 as well. So yeah, we can make that a 3DO with Matt.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on 3DO. You can find 3DO on all the major podcasting platforms. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network, superpodnetwork.com. Awesome site with all sorts of different shows, videos, blogs. I think we're still in the middle of doing our PS1 blogs, so be sure to check those out. I think Mo just put out one today on Final Fantasy VII, so be sure to check that out. And also check out Danny's a new show that she's working on, the Superpod Codex. I think she just put out her second episode on that. I think it was one of Tony's blogs.
Yes, and she's working on one of yours.
Oh, neat. Look forward to which one she picked. But
I'm assuming she asked you.
I said she could use any of them, so I'll be surprised.
There you go.
But yeah, anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all later.
Bye-bye.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system, what are you playing with?